Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show. We try to make sense of this crazy Arizona market, and I try to update us once a week on any news that we've seen pertaining to our area. And the news that we got this week was that inflation is getting better. It's at 2.9 versus 3. Their projection of 3.1. You can see on the chart here where we've been, and we ended up peak here around 8 or 9%. Ended up way up there back in the 1980s. Boy, do I remember that, 13%. I was working in a grocery store. It seemed like all I was doing was changing prices every day. But the data that we've been waiting for has kind of been messed up because of the government shutdown. So the jobs numbers came out. They didn't look good, but nobody trusts them. The inflation numbers come out, look pretty good, but nobody trusts them because they're waiting for the tariffs. They don't think the tariffs have had an impact yet. They're not sure what's going to happen. They're looking at the central bank actually maybe starting quantitative easing again, maybe churning up the printing press. Not sure. They only went down 0.25 points. But what this all boils down to is the uncertainty means nothing's moving. So the bond market didn't budge. Normally you get an inflation number that's looking pretty good. Usually means that rates won't come down. They'll go up a little bit, and they didn't. Usually when you get a jobs market that's really bad, it means that rates will probably go down. People will jump into bonds. Bonds go up. Means rates come down. That didn't happen. So there's just uncertainty. Nobody trusts the jobs numbers because in November, we had the shutdown. We're not really sure what they counted, whether or not they're any good. Let's just wait for the revision. So it's just more of the same. It's just, let's just sit on our hands. And it really tells the story, I think, of the kind of year that we're going to have. Maybe not the kind of year, because I can't project out a year, but here's a great illustration of where we've been. And if I take out 2022, look at this. This is annual average sales price per square foot is just a flat, straight line. It was last year. We're up just a little bit on the average sales price, not by much, but it just isn't moving. There's no volatility. Listings under contract, again, following the same pattern of the last 2 years. Same with pending listings. Pending listings are just hugging each other. Canceled listings are the story of the year, where we've got 21,702. These are people that put their homes on the market and said, well, it didn't work, just pull it. They didn't adjust the price. They may have adjusted the price a few times. They saw how slow it was. There's no desperation. You don't get this many canceled listings if there's desperation in the market. In other words, oh my God, I got to sell. If you have to sell, if overall the market's starting to panic and people feel like they better grab their equity and get out now, you won't see high canceled numbers. They won't give up, pull back, take them off the market. They'll keep hanging in there and lowering them until they get the house sold. Not the case now. You got 21,000. So now what do we watch? How many are going to come back in January? I don't know. Going to have to kind of take a peek at that. I mean, we're just going to follow it. I expect second week of January, we're going to go from 23,000 listings that we have now up to about 24, 27, closer to 27,000, kind of like we did last year. And it'll hang in there and maybe increase a little bit going into February. But will the number of contracts increase at the same pace as they do with the number of new listings? Because right now the number of new listings are far below the number of new contracts. And unless those numbers invert, you're not going to see prices coming down. We do have an annual sales rate number that the Cromford people came out here that is kind of interesting. I'm going to show you all the cities here, and then I'm going to come back to focus on Apache Junction for a moment. So we're going to look at all the cities in our market, our annual sales rate. It's not doing what I want it to do here. Bear with me, and because the chart changed a little bit. Annual sales rate starting to come up from September 2024. It's been a steady increase ever since, not by much, but it's a hopeful sign that maybe our sales are not going to stay as low as they've been. Then you get into a kind of a standout city here, Apache Junction, the far East Valley. And look at how they had a low of 883 in April 2023. They've been climbing steadily ever since when you look at this chart, up to about 1,185. But then get this. I'm going to take out condos, Single family residents, pop that little check mark out. This is mobile homes. Look at how much they've gone up. That's the story of Apache Junction. A lot of retirement communities out here, they run about 30% Canadian, and they are about 40% of our total market in Apache Junction. So it's the mobile home market, the snowbird market that is got people selling, bailing, heading out. Looking at our active listings where we're at right now, excluding under contract, accepting backups and contingencies, you can see that we're going down, and that's going to continue to go down as we get into the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You don't start seeing it go up till about the second week of January, if not the third. This is our contract ratio. There's really no big stories going on here, except one little spot here in zip code 85045 is registering as hot with a contract ratio of 75. And there's some areas here like Scottsdale that are rated as cold. Sun Lakes, it's balanced and warm. It's actually getting kind of cold down there. Phoenix 85043, balanced and warm. If you'd like to see a zip code report for your zip code, click on that QR code if you're watching me on TV, or use the link in the description down below. I'll get it right out to you. I think I've sent out about 150 of those so far. And not only that, if there's anything else you want to see about your market, I can do pretty good zip code reports. Now, the Cromford, I pull from several different sources, the Cromford Market Report, Zillow, Redfin, Case Shiller, and kind of blend them all together to get a truer picture of what's going on, because you can't just rely on one, although the Cromford Report's been accurate for over 20 years. So that's my go-to when it comes to tracking the data here in the Valley. And I include that in my weekly newsletter. It comes out every morning at 7 a.m. If you haven't signed up for that, that link's down below too. Go ahead and do that. Until then, everybody have a great weekend. I hope you're not running to the mall and doing some last minute Christmas shopping. Take care.